abstract. Yeah, it's complicated what you say, the way you act. Well, it makes me so confused. I don't know what to do anymore. Can't you just make up your mind? My heart drops when you play around. How can you be up when I'm down? Don't wanna think about it right now. Maybe you just wanna be friends, but there is a fight when we are talking. Maybe you just wanna pretend, but I can read between the lines. Even if I can't deny that all the things you said are hurting. Still wanna be with you. I think you want it too. 'Cause baby, I don't wanna be. Baby, I don't wanna be. No, baby, I don't wanna be. Baby, I don't wanna be. How it hurts to see you smile, like a dagger in me. She just seems so juvenile. I just want it to be me. I wanna set your world on fire. Oh, just so sure I'll stick around. Oh, my heart drops when you play around. How can you be up when I'm down? Don't wanna think about it right now. Maybe you just wanna be friends, but there is a fight when we are talking. Maybe you just wanna pretend, but I can read between the lines. Even if I can't deny that all the things you said are hurting. Still wanna be with you. I think you want it too. 'Cause baby, I don't wanna be. Baby, I don't wanna be. Oh, even if I can't deny that all the things you said are hurting. Still wanna be with you. I think you want it too. 'Cause baby, I don't wanna be. No, baby, I don't wanna be. No, baby, I don't wanna be. Baby, I don't wanna be.
Hey everyone. I'm looking at all of the hellos. Hello, Cynthia, Nicole, Marianne, you're in Colorado too. Hi. I'm so glad you guys are all here. I'm going to kind of recap on my project and talk about that, and then I'll start answering some of the questions. So don't feel like I'm ignoring you. I'm Miss Carrie. I do live in Colorado. I am the owner and designer at Miss Carrie's Creations. Whenever you look for me online, you're going to see it's Miss Carrie's Creations. Okay. Facebook, YouTube, any of those places. Like I said, I reside in Colorado. All of our kids are grown. My husband and I are Awana missionaries here, and I spend my time in my office with my little dog, working on crafting things. So let me recap the project real quick. I did the woven card designs. I chose masculine theme. We have 4 boys. And I'm going to tell you, masculine cards, masculine scrapbook pages, masculine things are kind of like, they're hard to find, the designs are. And so that's why I chose the masculine stuff, because I think masculine would have, a lot of you are probably looking for that. So I did let me try to get these back in the camera, the 2 masculine woven card designs. We did 2 different designs. So I did one that was kind of like your basic weave. I'm trying to not get a glare here, with a frame around it. Those are really simple to do. So I talked about that. And then I talked about how you can basically do kind of like the little window, almost like the windows like you would do for shaker cards, and then fill those in with, with the woven designs. So I'm glad you guys all appreciate the masculine design. A lot of you are saying, yeah, they are hard to find. They are. I mean, it is. I mean, I love, and personally, I'll tell you, I don't see these as masculine because I have kind of a vintage vibe that goes in my house. And so I really like the darker colors and the darker hues and the darker patterns. So I don't see them as masculine, but you do see a lot of cards that are more of the bright and pastels and that kind of thing. So I thought I would bring in a different kind of idea for you guys. Okay. Now, not only did you take the class, you guys also got access to the little paper weaving tips and tricks. So make sure you download that, because that link is, if you have the free pass, remember the class and the links, you can only get access to them for 24 hours. So they started at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time this morning, and you have access till 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. All right. Okay, so I'm going to kind of try to go through a couple of questions. You guys are like really going here. Okay, Rihanna has an idea for me. What if one card panel with 4 different woven designs were on it? Oh yeah, that's a really good idea, and that is possible. Okay, so if you watched the video where we did where this basically was its own little panel. Okay, so we basically did a small weave across this panel. You could do that with a quadrant. You could do that with a couple of different stripes. That definitely would work. Okay, so that's a great idea. That is something that is doable. Like I said, I would do it more like this card, where you are doing the separate panels and you're weaving on the separate panels. You're attaching that woven design to the separate panels and then assemble the panels together like a quilt. That would look super cute. So yes, Nicole, I do sew a lot. I sew a lot on my cards. I sew a lot on my scrapbook pages. I enjoy sewing. I'm going to tell you, I can't sew fabric to save my life. And she's asking, do you have a video where we can learn about it? So that is something that it's been a request recently. I do a lot of stitching on my projects, and I just assumed that like other people did that. And so I have had a couple of requests to please show how I sew on my items. So you're going to see, other side, I do have a sewing machine. I will tell you, if you're going to sew on paper, you're probably going to want to dedicate a machine solely to sewing on paper. My mother-in-law is a quilter. She has gorgeous sewing machines that she has for her embroidering, quilting. And I've talked to different people who work in the sewing field. Paper can destroy your sewing machines. Like the paper dust gets in there and can make a mess. So it needs cleaned more frequently. It needs oiled and maintained more frequently. So I would definitely make sure that you designate a sewing machine to paper crafting. And then I also do a lot of hand embroidery on my projects. So that's another thing. I have shown how to do hand stitching on some different projects. So I think those are more on some of my scrapbook pages. But I definitely have that written down because I do have quite a few people who have asked me to please just do a step-by-step of how to sew on projects. So thank you for that request, and that's definitely coming. All right. Yes, so I just answered, yeah, Sylvia, a specific sewing machine. So I keep going to the wrong side. It's a Brother sewing machine. I have it in my Amazon shop. I like it. You can see it's got like the extended little offshoot here. The extended table, because I do sew on scrapbook pages also. So I like that it has the extended table. This one also has like 24 different embroidery stitches that work really well on paper. And so, yes, I have a designated sewing machine just for paper. All right. So we've got the one panel. Yeah, that one we talked about. Let's see. One panel, 4 different patterned. Let's see. I had some other questions here. What other? I'm trying to make sure I'm going through the chat. How do I keep scraps organized? Oh, great question. I like that question, Diane. I'm an organizer. I have OCD. So I just recently did a series in my Facebook group. It's called Create with Miss Carrie, and I just did an entire series on organization. So if you need anything organized related, go ahead and head in there. But as far as scraps go, let me find. I just had one because I was doing a demo yesterday. Let me pull it out of here. So I keep them in these little envelopes. Okay. They're just little plastic envelopes. You can buy them. Let me try to get, my light is like glaring. So they come in all kinds of sizes. They come in slimline size. They come in bigger than this. They come in little small pieces. So little pieces I keep in here. In my organization videos, I shared that in my actual like big paper bins, I have big 12 by 12 folders that go in there. So like next to my pink cardstock is a pink cardstock scrap folder. Next to my, black cardstock is a black cardstock scrap folder. And I actually show that in that group in the organization videos. So I kind of walked people through how to store those paper scraps. And those are my larger ones. Anything that's like super small, I do kind of keep in there. But I've also gotten in the habit where I just don't keep as many small scraps anymore. I should be better at that. They actually end up going to my son. He does handmade paper making. So a lot of my little scraps go for there. Have I ever tried weaving the technique with fabric instead of paper? No, that is not something I have tried. I have woven ribbon. So I guess that is a form of fabric. So, doing ribbon weave is easy, but I really don't keep a lot of fabric in my creative space. So I've never tried it. I would really, I've seen it, and I'm sure it would look beautiful on a card, but I have done ribbon, just not fabric. Wow, that's a big question. So Cynthia asked a little bit more about myself, how I got started, who influenced my creativeness, and what are your favorite areas of paper crafting? That's a big question. Okay, so let's see. I grew up here in Colorado. My husband and I, we just celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary. We have 4 grown children of our own, and then we had 3 foster children that stayed with us for a while, which I consider my children also. But we're empty nesters now. Like I said, his full-time job is an Awana missionary, and then my full-time job is a creator. As far as like where I got started, my background, my background is actually in nothing creative. I have a background in like my degrees are more in like the law and accounting, legal field. And then I went into teaching for special ed, so didn't go anywhere. And then I went into the creative field. As far as like who influenced me, there wasn't a lot of. I did some crafting a little bit. I don't know how many of you are familiar with like 4-H. So I did a little bit with that, and then I had one of my grandmothers was very, very creative. And when I was a young teen, she introduced me to all kinds of crafting things. So I always enjoyed going to her house and making things. So, Swante, I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Do you use thinner paper for weaving, or how thick can it be? Actually, I have used cardstock, and I have used paper. Actually, I think the thicker the paper is, the easier it is to control with the weaving. I'm trying to see. And I think it actually depends on like what kind of weaving techniques you're doing. When you're doing ones like the ones I taught in the class, those ones you could use like super thick papers because they are very basic weaves. Whereas, let me show you. This one is one that I'm teaching in that bonus VIP class. This one, I don't know how well you can see it, but it has a much tighter weave with a lot of pieces of paper. And that one, it's a combination of cardstock and paper, but it is on the thinner end. So with some of those more detailed ones, I think the thinner paper worked a little bit better. But I've done it with both. So I think it actually just kind of depends on the weave pattern. Tiffany. Yes, those are little Groots on my shelf. I love my Groots. There's oddities in my craft room that people don't really get to see. But yes, there's little Groots and they have little he's over here. No, he's over there. There's 3 of them. And they have little succulents on them. So, yeah. My little happy things. Oh. Good question, Judy. Can you use the Cricut to do stitching like a sewing machine? I love that you asked that question because I just did a scrapbook project where I shared how I made a plaid pattern with the perforation tool. And next week, I am putting out a 5-minute Cricut class that shows how I did it. So I do it with the perforation tool. And it creates what's called a faux stitching. So it's actually not stitching, but it looks like stitching. On my YouTube channel, I have an entire series of classes that are called 5-minute Cricut classes. Simply because when I started using the Cricut, I'm gonna be kind of open here. When I started using the Cricut, it was very difficult for me to find a video that just didn't tell me what I wanted to learn. I loved that you made a project. I loved that you told me about all the products, but all I wanted to do is learn that one technique. And that's why I decided to come up with the 5-minute Cricut classes. So in 5 minutes, I'm teaching you one technique. And next week, the technique that I'm teaching is how to create what looks like stitching with your Cricut machine. So it'll be with the Cricut Maker. So I'm glad you asked that because yes, that video is coming. Do you have any tips for craft room storage on a budget? Oh, great question. So like I said, I did that series on my in my Facebook group. I'm going to tell you that I am very frugal. Okay. Most of the items that you see in here are thrifted items. So I did show in those videos, I shared things like how would you go to a thrift shop and purchase like this little box and how would you use it to store things. I also know that there are people out there that really like the industrial feel as far as like more of the white melamine and the clear boxes. So I did show those in the videos. But I'm one that I'm very much a thrifter. I'm very much, someone who will go to Dollar Tree and see like 4 boxes and be like, oh, those will work for this. My family are outdoors people. So we're at, fishing and hunting shops. And so sometimes I'll look at a little box that, cost me $1.99 and I'll be like, oh, I can store this in it. So in that video series, I do share, I very much share here's more of the frugal route and the thrifted route versus those of you who really like to have a more structured, everything matches type of thing. So I will tell you that I am very much a budget person. I would look at thrift shops. I would look at those, $5 and under Dollar Trees. There's all kinds of them out there. And like I said, look outside the box, outdoor stores and that kind of thing. There's a lot out there. So Susan asked, do I cross stitch on my cards if I use the cloth or cardstock? So I have done I haven't done cross stitching on my cards. I've done embroidery on my cards. I do cross stitching as a hobby. The cross stitching thing is not something that I've done on cards yet, but I have done embroidery. I have a set of videos showing that how I made an embroidered stocking and then how I took the iron-on from that embroidered design, because a lot of embroidery companies now give you like the little iron-on. And I showed how you could put that iron-on paper and embroider right on the paper. As far as cross-stitching goes, because I do cross-stitch on the side, I know there's some companies that are putting out like cross-stitching dies. I would suggest more along the lines of that. And then like, I think the cloth would probably be better on a card. And yes, Rihanna, the video is free. So if you're interested in that series, it is free in my Create with Miss Carrie's Facebook group, that organization series. How many weave techniques are there? Oh my goodness. You know what? Is it Mallory or Mallory? Google paper weaving. The amount of art that is out there that is stunning that people have done by weaving paper. I wouldn't even be able to tell you how many different techniques are available. Like I said, I'm going to show 3 more in that VIP class, but I Google it. There's so much paper waving out there. Oh. Arlene just said she loves that Stitch is looking at us over the lights. Yeah. Yeah, I've got a couple of little things. My husband and I go once a year. So yeah, there's a couple of those little people. All right, so we're getting to the point where we kind of need to wrap it up. Oh, Rihanna said, is the sewing with the Cricut video? Yes. So all of my 5-minute Cricut classes are free on my YouTube channel. If you go to my YouTube channel, it's Miss Carrie's Creations. Links to all of my social media stuff are below my video on the classroom site. But yeah, it's on my YouTube. All my 5-minute Cricut classes, all of that is free. Yes. Yes. All right. So we're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for joining me. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I did post a little post in the group that says, put your questions here. I will be glad to answer them. I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend. Make sure you share your cards and tag all of the creators so we can see what you made.